Hi, welcome to High Road. My name's Andrew, and welcome to a tutorial on how to turn still frames into a time-lapse video using Adobe Premiere. Now, I've come across this problem because I recorded what I thought was a time-lapse video on my GoPro of me setting up for a gig. So you can see here that it hasn't recorded that way. It's actually recorded as a sequence of still frame JPEG files, which is essentially what a time-lapse is. It's a sequence of photos, except that it's supposed to come out of the GoPro looking like a video. And whereas what my GoPro has done is it's turned what should have been a video into a series of little photos. So I'm going to try and actually convert these into a video the way it should have been originally. And I'm guessing that lots of you have come across this problem too. If you inadvertently have your GoPro to the wrong setting, you could end up with something like this. So if I go into Adobe Premiere and create a new project, I've created a folder already called GoPro Comp for compilation, and I'm going to just call my project the same name. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now if you've never used Adobe Premiere before, this is one of the possible layouts you could have. Down here though is the project explorer. So I'm going to go click on here with my right click button and go import, and I'm going to bring in all of my images that are So I'm going to basically just click on one of the files and press Control A, and that selects all. And I press open. It's bringing them all in. Now already I know I'm going to come across a problem here, which I already came across, and you may come across as well, and that is that once I try and drag my images onto the timeline, each image is going to be like 3 seconds long, and a timeline is supposed to be just one frame at a time. So here's all my images. If I try and drag one onto the timeline like that, creates a new sequence for me. This first image, by the looks of it, is 3 seconds long. That's no good. Let me try this again. I'll go up to the very first image here, and I'll drag the first one on, then the second one on, and maybe a third one on, like that. And you'll see here if I press play, right, it's not even, you can just see the images on the TV there changing from frame to frame. That's about the only difference. It's not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to be one image for every 2 or 3 seconds. It's supposed to be one image per frame, or 25 images a second. So I could scale these down to one frame each, but I've got so many images, there's no way. So if you've come across this problem, let me tell you the answer. You have to go up to Edit, Preferences, Timeline. And here is the setting you want. It's called Still Image Default Duration. At the moment it's set to 100 frames. I'm going to change that to 1 frame. And I'm not sure if this is going to work. Nope, it's still not going to work. So that setting that I just changed, you have to have adjusted that setting before you brought the images into your project. So this is an import preference. Once it's in, once you've got your images in, you're kind of stuck. I will just quickly try and see if I can delete my sequence. No, same thing. When I zoom in, it's still like 3 seconds long, or 100 frames long. So I have to basically get rid of all these. I'm going to press Control A for all and get rid of them. So now, because, I'll just double check I've done this right, in my timeline, yep, it's set to 1 frame. If I now import those images again, okay, I'll go up to the very first one. If I try and drag that on, look at that, you can't even see it because there it is. It's so short, it's only 1 frame long. Drag the next one on, drag the next one on. You can see they're all coming in as one frame long. Perfect. See there how quickly they go through? That's what a time lapse is supposed to be like. So I'll get rid of those. Now I'm going to zoom right out, and I'm going to select all of my JPEG files here, and I'm going to drag all of them onto the timeline as one little cluster. There we go. Now I'll zoom in on that little, see how dense they are? They're so dense you can't even see the pink coloring anymore. There they all are. That's what we want. So this whole sequence is about 32 seconds long now. So as I press play, you can see now we've got a time lapse. Now it's looking the way it should. This is how I wanted it to be straight off the GoPro, but it didn't quite work out that way. So great, that's how you do it that's how you get them into a sequence order like that. Next thing is we want to get them out and turn them into a video. So if I click on, any one of my JPEGs here, actually I can probably do it in my project window. If I click on the first JPEG and scroll along, I can see what my video size is. It looks like it is, it's quite big. So it's 2,592 pixels by 1,944. That's not a standard video size. However, because I dragged that onto my timeline, the sequence, by doing that, it's basically created a custom sequence, which is set to the parameters of my JPEGs. So this timeline sequence here that we created it matches. It's 2,592 by 1,944 pixels. So everything's kind of matching up here, but that is not standard video. So we're going to export this project. I'm just going to go back a bit here. All right, so this is my work bar. And at the moment, the work bar is set to go from beginning to end of my sequence. Not quite. Just drag that right to the end. Perfect. So now I'm going to go File, Export Media. And in here, this is what I recommend. This is the best way I've found to export stuff for YouTube or for video. I'm going to select Work Area, which is the work bar that we defined in Premiere. Although at the moment, I could just go entire sequence, or I could go sequence in and out, because at the moment, all of them match up. My entire sequence actually just happens to be the work area. So there's that. I'm going to choose format being H.264. My preset, however, I'm going to choose YouTube 1080p. That's full HD. That's really, for video purposes, that's really the one you want. Okay, so it's going to export my entire video. It will have a bit of black on the sides, but that's just how it is. We could maybe adjust that if you really wanted to, but you can adjust that later when you're editing this video. So we're trying to actually create a video that you can then work with in another project. By doing it in this format, it's going to be standard. So output name, I'm just going to call it, hang on, where are we? GoPro comp. I'm going to call this GoPro compilation. Save. So that's my file name. And then all I have to do is press export. And that's it. And it says here that my estimated file size will be 64 megabytes, which is great. That's a good video size to work with. I don't really need to adjust anything else. I wouldn't recommend you go match sequence settings, because you're going to create a video file that's not standard. It's not going to be 1080p. It's going to be those other numbers I mentioned before. So I'll press export. Okay, so that's exported now. If I go to my folder on my computer, there it is. There's the video that I made. Let's just open it up. And there it is. It runs just fine in my Windows video player. So, hopefully that's been helpful. I'm going to be using this video that I've made here in an upcoming project on how to be a covers musician. This is a little video of me setting up for a gig, and I'm going to show you basically some of the ins and outs of being a covers musician in Brisbane, where I live. See you in the next video. Bye.